I'm Julie Banderas in for Harris Faulkner tonight. This is the Fox Report. We are entering a crucial week in the race for the White House. The first Republican presidential debate now only 4 days away, folks. There are 17 declared Republican candidates, though, and many of them are on the campaign trail making their case ahead of Thursday's event seen right here on Fox. Elizabeth Pran with the news tonight from Washington. Elizabeth.
The days are dwindling as Republican candidates push to make headlines, some getting terse when asked about the elephant in the room, Donald Trump, who is shot to the top at a number of polls. He, however, continues to minimize expectations.
Maybe my whole life is a debate in a way, but the fact is I'm not a debater, and they are. But with that being said, I look forward to it. We'll see what happens. Who knows?
Former Governor Rick Perry and Governor John Kasich both took the opportunity to tell Fox's Chris Wallace their executive experience trumps other candidates. Kasich saying Ohio has remained his first priority, knocking others who have prioritized campaigning, while Perry says he best represents the party.
I'd like to be there, and we just have to wait and see how all these polls work out. And look, as it relates to the polls, I'm governor of Ohio. I wasn't traveling around the country trying to make a name for myself. I was just trying to take care of Ohio.
I'm going to stand up for conservative. Nobody has a more socially conservative position. Nobody has a better job creation record. Nobody has a better record of running the 12th largest economy in the world. And I think that's what Americans are looking for.
Other candidates, such as Senator Rick Santorum, are downplaying early polling, saying the numbers are arbitrary. Governor Chris Christie says once you get on that stage, it doesn't matter your standings. It's an opportunity to appeal to Republican primary voters. The top 10 candidates will be announced Tuesday, August 4th. Julie, back to you.
Elizabeth, thank you. So, with only days until the first debate, a brand new national Wall Street Journal NBC News poll of Republican primary voters shows Donald Trump leading the large pack of candidates at 19%. Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker, former Florida Governor Jeb Bush, and retired neurosurgeon Dr. Ben Carson are all in double digits. The rest of the group are all within a few points of each other. Let's bring in our political insiders. John LeBoutelier, former Republican congressman for New York, Pat Caddell in the middle, a former pollster for President Jimmy Carter, and Fox News contributor. He's choking up. He's so excited about this segment. And Doug Schoen, former pollster for President Bill Clinton and a Fox News contributor as well. All right, gentlemen, great to have you here. Let's talk about this quick rise on behalf of Donald Trump, his surge in the polls, because it has come at a bit of an expense of other Republican hopefuls.
Yeah, I think, first of all, part of it is immigration, but I think there's a larger issue. There's anger with the system. There's anger with Washington. There's frustration that the game is rigged. Trump gives Republicans and indeed America straight talk about how to fix the country, reform our system, and open up our politics. And I think that's ultimately what people are responding to.
Yeah, I think that, we've been saying this for a year that if anyone watched Political Insiders last year, we've been telling you this year was going to be chaos, and we're headed to even more chaos. And that is because we have an electorate out of touch with the leadership of the country, a political class that has no grasp of what's going on out in the hinterlands, no sense that they are despised because of their failures, and also because the place is so, frankly, corrupt. And people believe that, and no one speaks for them. And then, so authenticity.
But Trump does, doesn't
it? Well, Trump does. I think he has a... I think the question for him is, does he get a coherent narrative around it? But boy, he's walking around setting off those bombs, as is Bernie Sanders in a way, in his own way, in the Democratic Party.
Can we, while we're talking, can we put the poll back up? Because I'd like to ask and talk about the numbers on that poll.
Okay, go ahead and put that in.
All right, so we have Trump leading, and we have Scott Walker, who repeatedly on this show we've talked about is the one candidate with 1 foot with the Tea Party and 1 foot with the establishment,
right.
And he's hanging in. Now, the next two are very interesting. Jeb Bush never moves. He stays at 14, doesn't go down, doesn't go up.
He went down in the Journal poll, I think, from 22 down to 14.
Then that's bad. But the trend lines for Jeb have not been good for the whole 8 months that he's been running. And then if we keep it up there, Ben Carson at 10%, to me, is very, very interesting.
He's been sitting there.
But he's been sitting there, but he's consistent without spending any money. He hangs in double digits because, like Trump, he's outside the political establishment.
I think that's an important point.
That will be very interesting because, for the first time Thursday, we're going to be hearing from presidential candidates debating on a platform that's obviously very familiar to career politicians. But you are going to hear from Donald Trump, Ben Carson, Carly Fiorina.
No, she's not in the debate.
She may not make it into the evening debate.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, we have never seen them on a political platform.
Right.
And so how might Thursday give them a chance to shine?
Well, here's the thing. The American people are responding to the fact that, as John and Pat were saying, Trump and Carson, to a lesser extent, are not part of the political class. They're not in the establishment. They're taking it on. The question is, are they ready, literally and metaphorically, for prime time? Can they articulate, as Pat suggested correctly, a cogent narrative of what they'll do to promote and provoke change in our country? That's the real question, and that's what they'll have to answer.
Here's a big question for conservatives is conservatism. Who's got it? And at this point, conservatives are equally split, as you mentioned, between Trump and Walker, according to this NBC poll, with about 18% backing each man. Tea Party supporters most favor Ted Cruz, with Trump and Walker close behind. People want a conservative to lead their party. Who is it going to be? Who is the true conservative in this group?
That's what we're going to find out, and what the definition of a conservative is. But also because, look, the real point that is not made in the politics of this, Julie, is that this is taking place in an election where 3/4 of Americans basically think their country is in decline, where 60% of them believe their children's future will be worse than theirs, that they got with the American dream, and where 89% of the people think the system's rigged against them. No one yet has really articulated that as a larger narrative, which speaks to the question, if you're in the political class and one of those people, you have either been an accomplice or you have been an accessory.
Or complicit.
Or complicit by your silence. And that has yet to be raised. It's a question of defining this better.
Let me repeat with Doug a conversation we had on Friday that's telling about it. Senator Rand Paul, who's in that poll sinking, by the way, is complaining that Trump is sucking up all the time, all the interviews we're talking about him.
Right.
And Doug made a great point, which was, for a year and a half,
they've had a year and a half to talk the other prospective and real candidates. And you know what? By being cautious, playing political games, they have made no impact. One other point quickly, Julie.
Right.
And we'll get to the Democrats in a second, but we have a number of viewers who write in, communicate with us. I have one who said, you know what? I'm angry. I like Donald Trump and I like Bernie Sanders. It's a point Pat has been making about how anger is generalized and people are looking for anti-systemic candidates because, you know what? These are two people that are talking sense directly to the American people.
You know, anger drives people to the polls. That is a true fact. But wait, let me just ask you, because let's talk about how Republicans are viewing Donald Trump, because depending on how his fellow Republicans treat him, he has said that he would switch gears and perhaps consider becoming a third-party candidate, whether that's all talk or not. But nonetheless, isn't that a death wish for the GOP?
Yeah.
Do you think that the Republicans will actually dial it back a bit? Because if they anger Trump, God only knows what he's capable of.
What he said was, if the Republican National Committee treats him badly, he would think about going third party. He knows these candidates are going to come after him, and he actually seems to relish when they attack him. It'll help him.
On a debate platform, absolutely. People want to hear him debate other Republicans and question their policies on immigration.
Well, what we saw last weekend with the Scott Walker thing, where one of his fundraisers in a letter called Trump a dum-dum, that gave Trump carte blanche. He said, great, now I can attack Walker.
I mean, John McCain called his followers crazies, and look where that got him.
When you are a public official and you call the people you serve crazies, that's not good.
No, it's not.
And that's, again, it's a question of contrast. You're here and I'm here. You guys are there, I'm here. Whatever that definition gets for anyone.
Okay.
But Trump's got a problem at the moment, because outside of the support he's getting, his favorable gets better, but it's getting higher.
Okay.
His negatives are still high.
Hold that thought, because the Democratic race, we need to get into that too, right? Because it may be getting bigger too. The New York Times reporting Vice President Joe Biden is exploring a possible White House run. The Fox News political insiders are coming right back. And don't forget to chime in. While you tune in, post your comments on our Twitter pages at FN Insiders and at Julie Banderas. We'll be right back.
Seems we've hit a roadblock. That reminds me, anyone have occasional constipation, diarrhea, gas, bloating?
Yes.
One Phillips Colon Health probiotic cap each day helps defend against occasional digestive issues with 3 types of good bacteria. Live the regular life. Phillips.
If anybody is looking for home repair or home improvement, you need to go to Home Advisor.
At Home Advisor, you'll find millions of reviews of pre-screened local home pros.
Home Advisor took care of all of it, and they're there when I need them.
And it's always free. Go to homeadvisor.com now.
Press the trauma unit 5.
What do we got?
BP 64 over 40.
2 units of O9.
Multiple foreign objects in the body.
Scissors.
If you're the guy from the operation game,